Is CAS overhyped? Do we even know what it really is? Everybody's trying to get into it, but nobody really knows how or knows what it is. We're going to explore if CAS is overhyped, what's the definition, and what direction is it going? Let's dive in. All right, welcome to another episode of CAS Minute. Today, we're going to talk about are advisory services overhyped in the accounting industry? It's a little bit controversial because advisory services are often positioned as the next big thing, the fastest growing segment within accounting firms. So we want to understand, is this overhyped? What are the realities of incorporating advisory services into a practice and examine if every firm really needs to jump this direction? So if you think about why advisory services became popular, generally they drive more revenue, they drive a more meaningful client relationship and move beyond that traditional compliance firms. That being said, a lot of large firms have had success with this, but smaller firms have kind of struggled to scale the services or find clients that find value in them. The reality is that this is kind of a buzzword today. The term advisory is just this catch-all phrase leading to confusion, potentially inconsistency. And so there's a lot of challenges in implementing advisory services, moving that direction. Not every client is ready or even interested in advisory services. Many small businesses are really more focused on compliance and their basic accounting needs. And so here we come trying to sell them advisory. And that requires time, specialized knowledge, the ability to shift from a transactional to a consultative approach. And some firms just aren't equipped to handle that, but are selling these advisory services as if it's this new thing, this innovative approach that's going to completely transform the client experience. That being said, I believe that might be done in a potential neglect of the core services that firms provide. So are we foregoing what we're doing really, really well to step into this arena that may or may not provide above and beyond value to our firms? When does advisory services actually make sense? I think generally speaking, it's a great fit for firms who have a client base who are looking for that strategic guidance, who are willing to pay for that ongoing higher value service. Now, how you frame that, how you position your services is dependent upon what you're really, really good at and what problems you solve. But by far and large, most CAS practices are really focused on the core accounting services. And so I think that's probably a better place to lean, considering there is demand in that environment right now. And so we've got to be really careful and cognizant as to how we roll out these advisory services. One thing I'd like to point out is when we think about what advisory services are, I want to look at the governing bodies of AICPA, these large institutions that are trying to educate us on what this is. So let's look at CPA.com. They have a white paper entitled The Future of Client Accounting Services. I'll link to this in the show notes. CPA.com defines CAS as Client Advisory Services, a practice area that helps clients outsource business needs with services spanning a spectrum of accounting, financial, and advisory-related offerings. They go on. At the heart of CAS is firms maximizing value to their clients and becoming the trusted advisor that provides deeper business insights to inform strategy and decision-making, allowing their clients to focus on core competencies and deliver on their value proposition to customers. That was one really big run-on sentence. That being said, let's break that down a little bit. A practice area that helps clients outsource business needs with services spanning a spectrum of accounting, financial, and advisory-related offerings. Okay, so we're outsourcing business needs, generic, spanning a spectrum of accounting, financial, and advisory-related offerings. You're kind of just defining an accounting firm at this point. Accounting offerings, all right. Financial offerings, all right. Advisory-related offerings. So we're defining advisory services with the phrase advisory-related offerings. There's no definition as to what that actually is. But in the next sentence, they do drill down on firms maximizing value to their clients. So this is centric around value. Now, this is really challenging because they go on to say, hey, defining CAS helps set a North Star that can steer a firm's vision. It's really difficult to break that down in a way to understand, is this right for me? Is this something I'm capable and should be offering? Because even within that definition that's been provided to us under this CAS 2.0 framework, it's really difficult to understand what it is. So we're going to have to go on in a second episode on this to keep this at the intended length. And so catch me again on the next episode, diving deeper into why is CAS important? Do we need to lean into it? And why is it causing confusion to us?